I have been a marriage counselor for some time, but you counsel people what you're not doing.
Wow.
I would come off and appear like everything is put together.
And give the counsel.
Yes. But deep down, I am deeply wounded. I had let go of my marriage and given her leeway to come and occupy my marriage. And by that time, I was like, I can do life without him. After all, there are so many single women out there. They are doing it. They are handling life. I can also do it. And because of that, I had grown so bitter. My husband also started to sleep at the edge of the bed, and I was also sleeping at the edge of the bed. I remember like 3 times when he woke up and my thing is still here. They have not cut it. He started thinking that because I was too angry, I would even maybe cut off his manhood or slaughter him or do anything bad. Thank you for joining us today, and I want to welcome each one of you that is watching us. My name is Renate, and I want to welcome you to this Hope Talk Show. This is another episode where we bring you stories of people that have gone through adversity, have gone through situations that sometimes are hard to deal with, to inspire situations that will help you become a better person. So today, I'm joined with a friend of mine that I got to know recently who has a story for us, who has gone through a period of trial, a period of adversity, a period of pain in her own marriage, and she has a story to share with us. And without taking much of her time, allow me to let our guest in to introduce herself. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am very excited to be here.
You look lovely.
Thank you so much, and you
So
too.
lovely. Good to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
I've waited for you for some time.
I've also looked forward to meeting the voice behind the call.
I hope you are inspired. But before we even start, I want to know what inspired you to come to share your story.
Thank you so much. What inspired me is that so many ladies are out there and they are confused about life. So I am always willing to share, and if possible, they learn from my story. By the way, this is my story,
Yeah.
and what I'm sharing is my experience.
Yeah.
And so many times we think that people change, change because of what they've had, but we share according to how we have lived our lives.
Yeah, you speak
So,
from experience.
yeah, so you pick what you think can work for you, but you don't need to apply it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's
You
a
just
very good-
need to borrow a leaf.
Yeah.
Perhaps also you can be able to start again,
Yes.
that you can actually trust God.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a good introduction. That's even before she introduces herself. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy this conversation. I really look forward to hearing your story, and it's my prayer that everyone who listens to you learns 1 or 2 things that can work for them. So tell us yourself, who are you?
Thank you so much. I am Rosemary Naguja, married to a very handsome gentleman, Mr. Mugera Dominic.
Yes.
I am a mother of 4 world changers,
Yes.
2 beautiful princesses, and 2 handsome men. Yes.
Wow.
So I am a transformational coach, very passionate about goals, and I love to see people change their lives, to live life according to their passions,
Yes.
to turn their passions into work,
Yes.
to turn their passions into career.
Yes.
So basically, that's who I am.
Wow.
I love to see people thrive.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's a recommendable job that you do. Yes. So before we came on the show, she was telling me about the story that you went through, that you
Yes.
want to share with us, which is a personal story,
Yes.
which I'm sure everyone is expecting to hear how you dealt with it, the issue with your marriage, your relationship, and that is what I want us to go in right now. So, at what point did everything start?
All right, thank you so much. I'll just go briefly in my childhood. Today, I discovered I was so lucky. I lost my mother when I was in P4, and I lost my father. My father also passed on when I was completing my PLE. And that is when life started. When Daddy passed, I didn't know whether I would actually continue with school.
Yeah.
But luckily enough, my uncle took me on. And the reason why I say I am lucky, I went to one of the first class schools of, yes, even up to today, there are still those first world schools.
Yeah.
Everyone wishes to go to.
Yeah.
So I got there for 6 years and I started university. But taking you briefly, during vacation, I stayed with a brother, and then after I stayed with a sister. And I thought they were mistreating me.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work. I worked. At one point, I thought I was being used as a house girl, looking after my big sister's children. So I was miserable staying in their homes because I thought I was very, very much mistreated. I remember when I was at my brother's place, maybe they were not doing well. And when I was joining senior 1, I remember sitting down under a tree and I set 5 goals. I told myself, I'm going to stay a virgin until I finish school. Why? Because I wanted to get a job. Number 2, I told myself, I'll give birth to my firstborn at the age of 25 and the last one at the age of 30. Why?
What
Because
inspired those goals? Did you think
I
that
was very
being a
lonely.
virgin will get you a job?
No, I'm a last born in a family of 10, and 2 of my sisters had become pregnant while in school, and I had seen how they were suffering. So I promised myself never to fall in love with any man before I finished school. And ideally, by the time I chose my husband, I had 14 men waiting for me. When I tell people that I had 14 boyfriends, some of them don't actually believe it. But whenever you came to tell me that you love me, I would tell you all my goals. Number 1, I have to stay a virgin until I finish school. Number 2, I want to give birth to my firstborn when I'm 25 and my last at the age of 30, because I'm the last born, and I think my mother gave birth to me when she was 40 plus, 45 I think. So my other goal was to get married to a Catholic Muganda man who was not working. Why? Because I thought every man who was working had a wife. And remember, I don't want to be a second wife. Number 4, I wanted to work with Uganda television. And number 5, I wanted an address. An address is a home.
Why did you want to work with Uganda television at that time?
Uganda television is what I knew. It's what we had in our home. My father was a policeman, and I never wanted to become a policeman because of reasons best known to myself.
Okay.
My mother was a teacher, a nursery school teacher. And yes, everyone was a teacher at home. You know, being in nursery, you go and sing. Everyone was a teacher. So I used to watch this gentleman called Mike Makamazibu. May his soul rest in peace. There's a way he used to present his show, Enjoy Music Africa. He would lean and say, Enjoy Music Africa. And every time he would show up, I would twist my head and try to be like him.
Yeah.
So
You wanted to work.
I wanted to work with Uganda television, which is UBC, as I speak now. So I'm happy I was able to get that. So I go through school. At some point, I left my sister's place and I went to live with my uncle in the convent. And during that time, I think I was the happiest. I had a lot of attention, I had a lot of love, and I met my husband in senior 4. He's one of my best friends that I've ever had in life. So he's a person who looked after me. He looked not after me, but he looked at me keenly. to make sure that no man takes me. Let me dive deep into marriage. So immediately after university, as I'm finishing my last paper, I had too much competition. Yes, we had to have it. We had waited for long. And that night I conceived. And by the way, during holidays, during those semester breaks, he would come and I sleep with him he would come and keep me in the hostel. He would go everywhere, then come back in the evening and sleep in the room. We would sleep 2 people. It is only me and him who know that actually we never had sex before I finished university.
Yeah.
People just used to see him come in the evening and leave in the morning. Come in the evening and leave in the morning, but he never touched me. So I respect him for that. So the fact that is I've finished my exams, I've written my first letter, and boom, here I am. He tells me I'm pregnant. And he tells me, go and tell your uncle. He's not working, I'm not working. So when I go to tell my uncle, he gives me $1 million. And he says, look for a safe place to live. Use that money. When it gets finished, come back for more. Until you have given birth. So when I give birth, we go back and he says marriage. But we had nothing. Luckily enough, after 2 weeks, it's like all his classmates made sure that he gets a job.
Yeah.
And within the first 3 months, he got a job. And luckily enough, I never went back to uncle for upkeep. So my entire life, I kept myself a virgin, hoping that my husband would give me all the love that I had missed. He would give me everything that I had missed. So I looked at him as my father, as my mother, as my everything. It's like I put a basket of all my needs, knelt down and gave it to him. Not knowing that he also had his challenges. He also had to live a life.
Yeah.
So since I was a child being looked after, we moved in when my uncle gave us money. And the first thing we did was to bring relatives, to look after relatives. I think that's where we lost it. Because now our love was divided. Now we started struggling and struggling here and there. Now, instead of building our love, there is a third party who has come in. And now he was coming from his side. You know how much they need attention. So basically, we were fighting for this love for one person. And I was having our firstborn. Now we are having a maid. We are 4 people in our home. Small baby fights started. Before I knew it, I got a job with, did I tell you I got a job with UBC? I got a job with UBC. The first day I went to UBC is the day, UTV by then, is that day I was given a job. And they gave me a job without even knowing what I was doing. It is my story that actually gave me a job. I just went and told the controller of programs how passionate I was working with UTV and how I loved Mike Makamazibu. May his soul rest in peace. It was a passionate, dramatic story that she told me, sit there, you've got a job. So I worked with UTV for 2 years. And the money was very little. By then, yes, a lot was happening. So from UTV, I get a good job with a bank. Now the bank takes me to Mitiana. I have to leave my home and go to Mitiana. I start staying there with my baby. I leave my husband with his niece. Now this niece was so stubborn. She never used to cook. She never used to clean. She had also just come for a holiday. So we had so many fights. We were both young. Sometimes we would quarrel on top of our voices, and my husband would just look on. Before I knew it, I was also bringing another relative, and he was also bringing another relative. I brought another relative, he also brought another relative.
How big was that home?
It wasn't a big home, but we just have big hearts. So at one point, we were over 10 people in a 3-roomed house. and the chaos was too much.
First wait a minute. Okay, the big huts aside, how were 10 people staying in 3-bedroom house?
We would just put mattresses and everyone sleeps there.
Down?
Yes. They were more than willing to sleep there because it was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. My husband is this jolly man. He loves music. He's a fancy person. He's a very good person to stay around.
Yeah.
So people would come and never want to leave. Before I knew it, I was being given names. So, and I was brought up in a strict environment. Living in a convent, don't expect a person to just grow up haphazardly.
Yeah.
There is a way we prepare our meals. There is a way we cut our greens. There is a way we lay the table. There is basically everything is done neatly. So I wanted everyone to do things the way I was doing them. And I was a watchdog. I was a tight supervisor. This is how you're washing plates? No. Basically, we became enemies. And my husband was never there too. Was never on my side. And I came to discover he was a laid back person. He would look at this drama queen shouting and quarreling with everyone in the home. And what came to me is that they have rejected me.
In your own house?
In my own house. I stopped staying in my own sitting room. From work to the bedroom. From the bedroom, either to the shop or town. From work to the bedroom. I only come out to shout and to make sure that things are put in place. I'm cutting the story short because it's a long one. So before I know it, we exchanged with my sister's daughter and I sent her back home. But in that process, we are paying fees for almost everyone who is staying in our home. So we are financially constrained. I was getting a good salary. Now I was paying tuition for my sister's daughter, who was at the university. He was also paying tuition for his niece, and then also helping out with these others, the requirements, the necessities, and things like that.
And how old was the marriage at that time?
I think we were barely 5 years.
You're already 5 years, okay?
Yes, less than, between 3 to 5 years. So instead of enjoying ourselves, we were just maintaining fights. So I struggled so much to come from Mitiana. Luckily enough, I received a transfer back to Kampala. But at that time, I wanted to move up the career ladder. I applied to become a credit officer, and now I'm transferred to Mbarara. From Mitiana, now you're going to Mbarara. There's a lady who told me, when you were apart, you grow apart. I never understood what she meant. And I told her, no, for us, we've been friends for quite some time. We cannot grow apart.
You will manage.
Yes, I told her, no, I know how to look after my husband. We cannot grow apart. But this is one statement that has always come in my mind. She told me, when you are apart, you grow apart. Now here I am in Mbarara. I was pregnant now for my last born. I cannot move every weekend.
You've rushed us. You've rushed the story
Yes.
so fast. We've not had the point where you actually got wedded.
All right. Thank you so much. Now,
The first child came in when you had just finished university.
Yes. Another one also came in.
Yes.
When that child comes in,
That's when you started having people in your home.
they came in before we even got married.
Yes.
By the time we are married, we are actually wedding in church. We are having relatives at our home. So I got that holy matrimony when I had given birth to my second born.
That's when you went into wedding preparation.
Yes, wedding preparations and actually church. Then after, I told you I wanted my firstborn at the age of 25 and the last one at the age of 30. Now I'm making 30 and I'm having my last born, pregnant. I was carrying my baby, and now I'm transferred to Mbarara. So I stopped coming home because I couldn't commute all the time. We are growing what? Apart. Every time we meet, there are fights. You expect him to do for you this, and he's not doing it the way he's doing it. You leave people at home, you expect to find the home shining because there are so many people. It is the opposite. The home is not clean at all. Everything is thrown. They just hear you coming, and now they start, the lion is coming, Bin Laden is coming.
You are the lion in your home.
Yes.
Okay.
So you come in, immediately you enter the gate. We were still renting. Immediately we enter the gate, you start shouting from the gate to the bedroom. Basically, you cannot think about it. I can smile over it because I have healed. So, and time would come, you come in and everyone disappears to their bedroom. When my husband comes back, everyone comes to the sitting room. So I became the scarecrow in my own home. Very, very strict, by the way. I'm a strict person. There's a way I want things to be done. In those days, we used to put there's a way we used to put our chairs and things like that. Should I find it on the floor? You have it rough. I became too bitter that I think even our this is a talk for grown-ups, that even our sex life was affected greatly. Yeah. You come home, instead of having a good time, you're just shouting. And I think my husband also got fed up of me. And that is when
home was no longer home.
Home was no longer home. It was home when I'm not home.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Your own house.
Yes, it was home because I'm not home.
Yeah.
Now when I'm not home, everyone, it's party.
Everyone is happy.
Yes, after the 2 weeks
including your husband.
Yes. Now when the 2 weeks are over for me to come back and check on my home, everyone is in hell. They start shaking like on Thursday, Friday, until I leave on Sunday, and everyone, yes, their life is back. So basically it was me who was hurting myself by making sure that everything is in place. So
at that point, did you realize that, or you kept on thinking?
Oh my God, my heart was bitter. My tongue was bitter. Let me continue, please.
Please.
So, time came when I was brought back. I worked my way to get a transfer back to Kampala. Now, when I come back, people are not used to living with me. They go out, have fun, and I am not around. They would actually go. Centenary Park by that time was the heat of the town.
Yeah.
So they were used to having their nights away. Now here I am. They have to put me in their plots. Until my husband boldly told me that the children are not comfortable going out with you. So he left me at home and he went out with the children. Do you know what that means? I would cry. I would cry and cry until they come back at almost 3.
Did you at one point mention it to your husband?
He's the one who told me that the children don't like your company. And he had to make the children happy. So I started living that point of life. But one of my goals was to work for 9 years. And the 9 years were almost clocking. So I was working my way out of the bank. And I'm a goal-oriented person and grounded in whatever I do. That when I make a decision, it is very hard to talk me out of it. I was working my way out of the bank. Whether you want it or not, I was just looking for something to pull me out. And here, a lady came in with those network marketing products. She showed me the marketing plan. The following day, I wrote my resignation. I wrote my resignation,
And wanted to
I had to serve for 3 months. Manager just signed my thing and told me, can you please leave? So I started life. Going to the network marketing. The network marketing company I joined had this expansive program, like marketing plan. So I looked at it and I'm like, yes, this is something I can do in 5 years. I started working my way to become one of the top people. And I did that, I think within a year and a half. I landed on the wrong manager. The wrong manager showed me this marketing plan and she told me, don't mind about marketing products. Just get to where you want to be to become a manager, and then the products will sell themselves. As an aggressive person, I actually did whatever I could, and I became a manager with a huge debt, a very, very huge debt. And I got the money from a money lender. Before I knew it, the month was already over.
What was the money to invest in the network?
Yes, because I had already become a manager, the level that I wanted to start training. In order to train in that company, you had to be a manager. Any person below that, you don't train. So my passion was speaking. All I could see is myself on the pulpit training others. So I get this huge loan, and before I know it, the month is done. You know, money lenders, they are demanding money.
Yeah.
I first got my car.
That period?
Yes. The car, I didn't buy it. It belonged to my husband. He bought it, and of course, he bought for me many cars. And I've cut the story. I took the car to the money lender. The car was around 12 millions. 12, 13, 15, something like that, or even 18. But you know the resale value is cut when you go to the money lenders. I first put it there. I take the card to save the land title that I had given him. The second month goes, the third month goes, I'm hiding. That is pride. Pride was going to kill me from my marriage.
Just a minute. When you went to the network marketing thing, you did tell your husband?
He knew, but he didn't accept. He didn't want me to leave the bank, and he didn't love the whole idea of network marketing.
But you had thought that the plan that was laid before you was the best plan, and he wasn't understanding you.
Now I want to inform you that it is not Rose making the decision. It is the anger. It is the pain. It is wanting to show that I can make it. Otherwise, if it was me behind this decision, I don't think I would have made it. I don't know whether you have had this anger where you feel that no one is understanding you, and you are in the whole world alone. And now you have to do things on your own. Whether they want it or not, you have to succeed. And we were in this home, everyone was doing their own things. We couldn't sit down to discuss. We were married, we would sit in the same car, and everyone, me I look in front, and the whole car is laughing, they are happy, they are playing music. He's talking to the person in the last seat, he's shouting, "Uncle, uncle." So basically, I was alone in the whole world.
Now, going back to the bit of the networking, you mentioned that the debt that you had gotten had increased.
Yes.
Your husband wasn't in agreement.
He didn't know about that debt.
So when you were taking that debt,
he didn't know.
Yeah, because at first he wasn't even agreeable to the decision. So you couldn't tell him that I need a debt, I need a loan.
I've told you, pride. Both of us are proud.
So you take that.
He has an ego. I also have my pride. I can do it.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
So you took the car.
I took the car, the logbook,
yeah.
And I'm doing it. He's not aware. I am so angry. I'm even saying, if they take the car, they take it. I don't care. I'll walk.
Mm.
So before I know it,
That's your husband's logbook.
the car was in my name, so it's mine, though he's the one who bought it.
Okay.
So I take the car to the money lender. The second month elapses, the third month elapses.
When your debt is, when the loan you had taken is not making money.
It's not, the network marketing is not making money. You only make money when you're sponsoring people and when you are selling products.
And that wasn't clear to you?
No, me, I was not selling products. And I had also failed to recruit people, but I was happy teaching. I was always on the pulpit teaching. Now I was contented that I was finally doing what I want.
Yeah.
And I would be happy
doing what wasn't bringing money.
Yes, I would be happy the entire day until 6 p.m. when I have to go back to a home where I'm given names, where I'm not welcome.
Oh yes.
Where I have to cry, where all the stress comes to your face as soon as they open the gate.
You mentioned something to do with the land title. You took the land title, then after took the logbook.
Yes.
Okay.
And now one day he wakes up and tells me, bring the car, I sell the car to cover this loan. But the loan was now beyond the car.
Who said that?
The money lender. But this land now was mine, in my names. So I just wake up and I'm like, this is my land. Why don't I sell it off? I pulled my logbook and I'm like, you can sell the land.
And you you went with the car and gave him the land?
Yeah, he already, to give me that loan of 15 million, I gave him the land title in Gayaza. When I was working with the bank.
How big was that land?
It was 100 by 100.
Wow, it was 12 million then?
No, it was worth almost 30 million. But you know, money lenders' interest grows almost on a daily basis.
That's true.
So I first didn't want to tell him that the land was going. Now I have a lot of pressure on me. I have pressure of being laughed at home, given names and things like that. Now I've added another pride of not telling him that I'm selling the land. And my heart is telling me one day he's going to wake up and ask for this land.
Yeah.
So I just tell him, I've sold the land. Where is the money? He just saw huge products packed in at home. Products almost up to my... Don't laugh. I would pack the products crying. Let me tell you, sometimes when you have no one to talk to, you can do weird things.
Yeah.
Today when I hear that someone has committed suicide, I can understand where they are coming from. When you are in a home where you are not loved enough, when you're not supported by your husband, is not a good place.
Yeah.
Long story short, he says it's okay, it's your land, you can sell it. Now in order to maintain the manager level, you have to buy a minimum amount. Now I start going to the money lender to buy that minimum amount.
With your loan?
Now the other one is done, I'm buying another one. What am I using? The logbook. When the money was piling, I just went home and told him, you know what? They are taking this car. He jumped up to say, who is taking it? A money lender again? He cleared the money and took the logbook away and told me, can you leave that network? By the time he told me to leave it, it was already on my neck. I left and sat home for a good 3 months. By that time, we had a very powerful music system, and I was the manager. It was bringing in good money, but he was controlling the money. So every money that would come in would go direct to the account. We had that year we had profits of close to 60 million. That's when I bring up an idea of let's buy big land, and I go into farming. We buy the big land.
With your husband?
Yes, 22 acres. Now, you know, I'm the driver. I'm the driver, and once I suggest something, it is very hard to talk me down. So he was like, hey, land is a good idea, and if you're going to go into farming, I'll support you. Now I move with money lenders, with land brokers. We went to Luwero, everywhere, until I got a good piece of land in Nakasongola. And yes, now I went out into farming full blast. Remember, I still have my ego, I have my bitterness, I have my anger,
People still at home.
yes, my people are still at home. I have no peace. So moving with these land brokers was also peace for me. When we are going to look for land, that is my happiest time. And I was looking for land for not more than 2 million because I wanted huge land. We got it. Now I went to Zimbabwe. I got 30 men. I brought them. They started working. We dug. They advised me to put up a dam. We put up that dam, and on 15 acres, we planted coffee. I got the suckers from Zimbabwe and coffee, and then we were planting what? Tomatoes. Now I start properly calculating how I'm going to run away from my home.
To go to a farm.
No. It is not a divorce, but separating, to find peace.
Oh, to stop,
to run away from my home. First, my plan was run away from home, first go rent somewhere. When you stabilize, pick your children, and you leave your husband and his relatives alone. So I get someone who was very good with tomatoes. We planted tomatoes, looked after tomatoes. I got a buyer from Congo. That time, the Congo business people were buying tomatoes like no man's business. He came to my farm, monitored it. I don't know what he saw, but he told me, I'll give you 250 million cash down. You give me the farm, I monitor it. Now my plan was, yes, I have a plan. Finally, I'm going to leave these people and they enjoy themselves. 2 weeks to harvest. The tomatoes were huge, the big ones. And he told me, once I give you your money, you leave my farm. I'm going to work with these people and we shall harvest for the next 1 year. Don't mind, we shall make sure we weed. I was the happiest. And I was not telling my husband that I was actually getting this cash down because I wanted to run away. And the support he had given me, I was calculating it, it was like 10 millions. So giving him back the 10 millions and plus some little interest was nothing. Yeah. So 2 weeks too, before I knew it, we were organizing and then I received this call, Mommy, the whole farm has been burnt. The entire 15 acres burnt for 3 good days. We had done some good work.
Who is calling you at that time?
The people at the farm.
Where were they for the...
Nakasongola. You know, I took 30 strong men.
At the point when the farm was being burnt for 3 days, where were they?
They were not sleeping at the farm. I was renting for them in the neighborhood. It was a forest. We were in the middle of the forest. So I think someone who came to buy next to me, I don't think, but that is it. It was a good place in that people would leave their cattle in that place and they would just come back to take them to another place to graze.
Yeah.
So before I know it, but the gentleman had not given me that money. I just received a call. The farm was burnt in the night. And the chairman was calling me, Wakiso, your farm is going to burn us. Because I had mulched, thick mulch like this. So My entire plan of running away from my home ended there. Now I was desperate.
Yeah.
Oof. Anyway, sometimes when I mention it is still fresh. Because I had put in a lot of energy, I would spend almost 4 days in a week at the farm, driving from Kampala to Nakasongola. It is not near. I was burnt out. My whole body was worn out. Remember, I was working very hard with a passion to leave my home. It is not a divorce, but to separate. Now, 2 weeks after, as I'm still hunting for the person who has burnt the farm, my husband is interdicted from his job. Now there are two big giants looking at us. The farm is burnt, my husband is interdicted. We sit and look at ourselves. That is the day we started talking. That is the day we started talking. Now he was also nursing his job. I'm also nursing. We used to talk in the night, thinking of what next. He was given an interdiction of 30 days. Before I knew it, 30 days elapsed in January. He reports to work. He's given another 30 days. When February comes, he's actually taken to court. So they are not given that chance of going to disciplinary committee. They are not given a chance of being heard. We are just going to court. And before you know it, he's in prison. Now I start running. How do I get bail? Things like that. After 4 days, I get the bail. Now we are talking. Let me tell you, we had spent months without talking. The talking the way we would talk is, where is soap? Can't you see it? Where is this? Don't you have eyes? So that is how we were talking. But the family was moving on. He would buy the food. When you want something, you say, can you give me this? So basically that was our communication. But now we have so many challenges looking at us.
So you must
now we have to talk.
Yeah.
We started talking. We had a hectic time. Now after them coming out after bail, we had a lapse up to July. Then after July, we were in court for 4 straight months, Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday, Monday to Friday. And in October 30th, he's interdicted.
Which year are we talking about?
We are talking about 2015.
Yes.
He's interdicted. Now I start looking for, how do I get him out? I was asking so many people. Now I think I forgot about the other anger. I'm getting another new kind of stress in my life. It wasn't easy. I was running East, West, and Central. That is the time I discovered that I actually can open any door. You tell me so and so can help you, the following day I'm there and I've seen that person. There's a day they told me the Deputy Chief Justice by then is the person to help you. I was at his door. And I was able to see his assistant. The assistant gave me advice, but because of too much panic, I spoiled the assistance. So basically, you tell me this minister can help you, the following day I'm there, and I see the minister. So basically, in that period, I discovered my strength. For a person out there, I want you to know that in times of pain, that is when you discover your strength. So I've not told you that along the way, my husband got someone to give him company. And that also added pain.
Because you were not there.
By the way, today, I forgive him because I discovered I'm the one who pushed him to find that girl.
Where are you coming from to say that? What exactly did you do?
Maybe before I get there. We're now adding that pain. Now you understand that your husband is cheating. That is the sole reason why I wanted to separate from my and I'm like, since he has some other person, why not leave him? Let me leave him and he enjoy his life with whoever he has got. So I was very determined. I couldn't be a second-class citizen.
Couldn't be the last in class.
So basically, I had let go of my marriage and given her leeway to come and occupy my marriage. And by that time I was like, I can do life without him. After all, there are so many single women out there. They are doing it, they are handling life. I can also do it. Why should I stay in a marriage where a man is cheating? So I was ready to leave them to enjoy their life because I'm sure of who I am and what I can do. So in June 2016, I get him bail. While I used to go and visit him in prison, this girl also used to come and visit him. So many times we would find ourselves there. So when he comes out, he starts from where he stopped. But I still sympathize with him because this girl also sacrificed time. And she also used to go and visit him so much. So if he had actually decided to break up with her, it would be a bad thing. So
She's the wife.
So, I'm a person who reflects so much. I actually try to find out where was I wrong. What brought me to where I am? How wrong was he? What brought him to do what he did? Sometimes we fail to acknowledge that we are also part of the mistakes. We are part of the sufferings. Actually, we are the ones who initiate, who bring, but we do it when we don't know. So basically, he comes out, and now the love between the two of them is up there. And because of that, I had grown so bitter. My husband also started to sleep at the edge of the bed, and I was also sleeping at the edge of the bed. I remember like 3 times when he woke up and my thing is still here, they have not cut it. He started thinking that because I was too angry, I would even maybe cut off his manhood or slaughter him or do anything bad. Because we were not talking.
So it would be a joy for him to wake up and find his whole body.
Yes. And when he woke up and he's like, I'm happy my thing is still here. Surely, I told him I'm not a murderer. I cannot do that.
He was going through his own
yes, he was also traumatized. I was also traumatized. Remember, he has no job. I am also here very confused. You cannot think about such a family. The reason why I sometimes forgive him, no, actually I forgave him. And I thank this girl for actually helping him. Because whenever he went with him, he got happy. Whenever they were together, he came back home when you see that he's happy. I only got bitter because I had to go through the phone and understand what they have been doing. But he never told me to go through the phone. So basically, around 2020.
Wow, that's many years.
Yes. 2020, before COVID, it was January. Someone invites me for a launch there's an organization that helps women to become self-aware and confident. I went for their launch. I looked at the ladies, the corporate ladies. The ladies I was looking up to were testifying and how this organization had transformed them. I was sitting at the edge. I didn't have money. And it was a 10 weeks program where you had to meet every Monday physically. I just signed up.
Because you needed help.
I needed help. And that is where my transformation started. The first week, they have quite a number of materials. There's a book to read. I was reading this book like I was going to pass exams, line by line, with a pen and a marker and a notebook at the side. The first week, my husband discovered a change in me. The entire family discovered the change in me. And everyone was saying,
What was the change? What were you doing?
No, first of all, the first topic is to become aware in God. Who is God to you? How does God call you? I am a child of God. So basically, the first chapter is grounded into God.
Knowing your identity.
Yes, thank you so much. That's the word. You know, sometimes English. It is about identity. And it's about defining the roles of a woman.
In God's eyes.
In God's eyes. That is for the very first time I get affirmed in that book. That I am beautiful. I am a child of God. Remember, I'm an orphan. And now I know that I have a God who is a father to me, who knows me and who knows that I am faultless,
Yes.
who accepts me the way I am.
Yes.
I'm telling you, every line meant a thing for me. Now I stopped looking at myself as an orphan. Now I had a Father in heaven who loves me.
Yes. Yes.
It is deep. There are 16 pages. I squeezed all the juice out of it. I started glowing.
And that's a plus to hear. Just to take you back a little bit, after you realized that you mentioned that everyone noticed a change from your husband to the people. So I want to know exactly what did they look at? Because the affirmations were in your heart. The affirmations, you were not speaking them publicly. They did
Yes.
had gone for this training and everything. What exactly did you use to do that you stopped? And after stopping, everyone around you noticed that there was a change.
Now I was not backing. For the first time, I left my bedroom. I came and sat in the sitting room where everyone was sitting, sat next to my husband and watched TV without complaining. Everyone was waiting to see, switch that off. I just sat there quietly and I just wanted to show, I wanted to show him that I am happy. Now he was also shocked. You know, you don't know, but we have one chair that we share. We share a chair and we sit there. So he was here. So he was also waiting for some words to come out of me. And for the entire night, nothing came out. For that entire week, nothing came out of me, nothing bad. Second week passes, I'm becoming better.
Wow.
The third week, he takes me out. He says, I want to take you out. I don't know when I had last gone out with him. He takes me to a new joint in Tinda. By then it was new. Guess what? As I'm entering, I'm like, this is where he brings his girls. That is what was running in my mind, instead of being appreciative.
Yeah, and knowing that.
So the emotions coming out of me is like, this man, how can he? This is where he brings his girls. And then this thing comes back and you're on a transformational journey.
You're a child
Can
of
you
God.
calm down? Can you enjoy the night? He took me out We first sat for 30 minutes, not knowing what to tell each other. By the way, he was seeing me move out every Monday, but I was not telling him where I was going. And he wanted to know what was happening. So on that dinner, that's when I tell him how I discovered this program, and it is a transformational program. I actually promised to give him the book, to look at it. I tell him all the activities, and he's like, yes. Even when I touch your body, when you are sleeping, he would still, I had never discovered that he actually monitors my body. He told me, now I touch your body and it is soft. Your body has been very hard. Now I didn't even know that he would actually touch me. Dare touch me. And then I'll ask, what are you doing? So he told me, for the past few days, I've touched your body and it is soft. You're becoming human. What is happening? So I start explaining.
You became the wife again.
And explaining. And that is when the fire in our marriage comes back.
Wow.
I've listened for like, I don't know how many minutes now, but I couldn't even interject. Because these are stories that everyone needs to hear. You know, when you don't know the background of a story, you cannot easily relate. Yeah. But hearing you share, I feel like you are now taking responsibility of
Yes.
of your mistakes, what you used to do wrong, and you don't put the blame on people. And for me, that's the key thing, because many times when there's a mistake, the blame is on other people until you can't even blame anyone because other people are done. But you see, Rose, the fact that you are now standing to say that you were the one who was wrong, and you are now becoming better, and your marriage is restored, and the options, I even think God was in the fire of the plantation.
Yes.
Because that was a move for you to leave the marriage, which you were actually the fire. You were actually bringing the fire, you know. So I want to appreciate you for sharing with us.
In that book, there is a statement that in God's kingdom, there is no wasted experience.
That's true.
I have been a marriage counselor for some time, but you counsel people what you're not doing.
Wow.
I would come off and appear like everything is put together.
And give the counsel.
Yes. But deep down, I am deeply wounded. There is a topic called woundedness, and it helps you to go back to the basement. Going back to the basement is where you go back to assess your life, reflect on your life from childhood. They ask you, it is a life map. Go back to your life and analyze your life. What happened 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Let me tell you, I've told you I was so intentional when I was doing this program. I took a day off.
I think it came at the right time also.
Yes.
Where, you know, sometimes when you've not gone through experiences like this, even when programs like that come, when teachings like that are provided, people don't take them seriously because they don't know the value. But the point where you were at, any help was very important. And I think God doesn't have to take us through the pain for us to learn how to appreciate what is provided to us. I think it's good to learn prayer. And from your story, I think we would encourage people to appreciate what they have even before they go through the experience. No one has to first go through this experience to know that actually you can be transformed by the word of God itself. You can be transformed early. Your marriage doesn't have to first reach the ages for you to realize I need the transformation. So from your story, I think we learned that. We learned that to be intentional early. You know, people who are still young in marriages like us, you learn to be intentional early. And you don't wait for this calamity to first reach. And I would actually commend your husband for doing all this and being patient. All this time being there, waiting for you to be transformed, and he takes up the new soft wife. Yeah.
I discovered I am the one who actually disorganized my marriage.
Yeah.
Number one, I told you about the too much expectations.
Yeah.
My husband has never been meant to be a father to me. He was never born to be a mother. You know, when we were going into marriage, I don't think, surely they can't give us enough counseling.
Yeah.
They cannot anticipate what we are going to go through in life. But what I can tell a lady out there or a new couple, now I appreciate couples that spend some time without bringing people at home. If we had done that, perhaps we would have made a good marriage. But before we even concretize our love, we are pulling people east, west, and central to come and stay in our home. Secondly, I didn't receive the love I was anticipating to receive. I was too proud to accept that I would receive help from my husband. I was too proud to appreciate that I had lost a job. I wanted to show that I can also make it.
Which you call pride.
By the way, there is something I didn't tell you. At one point, I went and asked for a loan, and guess the title was our marital home.
Without your husband?
Without the person who was taking pictures. You know, we always come with someone, the loans officer and the photographer. When the photographer was taking these pictures, I think he became too concerned. He went and told my husband, but do you know that you can lose this precious home? All that was out of anger. I am not loved. I felt like miscast. An outcast. Basically, sometimes too much anger can cause people to make, is actually problematic. I had these weird goals in life. I want to go to Hollywood. I want so much acres of land. I want so much. Basically, I have two weird goals. And I thought I could work in my own power to achieve it.
Are they weird, or maybe they are unrealistic? According to you?
Yes, whichever word you want to use. What I never knew, we never had mentors, by the way. As young people, that is one thing I am emphasizing today. We need mentors. No one ever held our hand to tell us how to do with life.
Yeah.
That they build wealth one stone at a time. Wealth is built like laying one brick at a time.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking that I can achieve everything within the shortest time possible. That was a desperate moment that I still regret up to today. When he came and asked me, Rose, did you take our marital home as security to get a loan? I told him, yes. What are you up to? How much money do you want? By the way, I credit my husband. He's a very patient man.
Yes, he is.
And he has never boxed me or beaten me. I'm the one who has actually slapped him twice.
Oh, really?
And when I slap him, he puts he folds his hands and he looks at me. Too much anger.
Yeah.
That's why today I sometimes appreciate that girl, because perhaps he calmed my husband down. I'm not encouraging him to cheat, but I reached a point in that woundedness. And I discovered how much I had pushed this man to the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Selling the first land, and he accepts, taking the logbook, and he pays the money. Now here I am, I'm taking the marital home as security. And so many other things that I've not talked about because of time.
Yeah.
So basically, some men do things not because they want, but sometimes we push them so much.
Yeah.
Now, after going through the basement, there is a portion where we are supposed to apologize. I knelt down and I apologized to my husband. Both of us cried. It was a crying session. He was sitting on the bed. I knelt in between his legs, saying sorry, because now he had started loving me.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about the 5th week. That is how powerful that program is if you do it intentionally.
Yeah.
Both of us were crying. We never slept that night. He was telling me about all the wrong things he has done. And he told me, you know, I never wanted to do this, but I was pushed. Time came and I joined a wrong group of friends who were doing what I started doing. But that is where I found comfort and peace. Divorce has never been on my bucket list. Otherwise, my only thing I would do was to run away from this home. When you come down, I come back. So sometimes we push people.
Yeah.
And we never want to accept that we are part of the problem.
We want to blame.
I am part of the problem. When you called me, I didn't know that I had something to share, because I am completely healed.
Wow.
I know who I am in the Lord. After embracing, by the way, I went back to my brother. I went back to my sisters, apologized, whom I thought were mistreating me. I am who I am because they pushed me. They taught me how to work. You know, sometimes when you are in someone's home and they are telling you, do this, do that, you cry thinking that they are punishing you.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm a very positive person. And I take blame.
I can see that.
I know. Yesterday I was talking to my teenagers, and I was telling them, because even my last born is a teenager, he has just finished P7, I was telling them, we are all mature people. Can we treat ourselves maturely, not deceiving one another? Temunimba.
Yeah.
Come, say the truth, apologize. I also make mistakes, you also make mistakes. Can we own up when time comes? And we made a very good pact to one another.
Wow.
Should something come up, they have emotions. They have, this is the time when trying out so many things may want to happen.
Yeah.
But we talk plainly. We have talked a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe
Lastly.
It is important for one to discover who they are. For me to understand my husband, I did personality tests. I did blood group. I read about blood groups and how different blood groups behave. So I did everything. Today I know why my husband is reserved, quiet, and I am talkative. I appreciate him. Now the entire family appreciates one another. Now we know why everyone behaves the way they do. We respect the quiet. We respect the bubbly.
And know how to live with them.
Yes, and we respect the neat ones. Because some of us come off as disorganized people. And we are always putting ourselves together to make sure that we appear organized. So it is important to know your self-worth, to become self-aware and be confident in yourself. Seek God. Because now
You
I-
got to know who you
yes.
are in the...
I didn't know I would remember all this.
No, I think your story is one of a kind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. I like how you've taken responsibility. I like how you've commended your husband for his patience. I like how you realized the problem before issues were irreconcilable, you know. So to everyone out there who has watched us this time around and you feel encouraged and inspired, take time to reflect on every issue that you're going through and identify exactly what is bringing it. Rose, for her case, you know, she was the one taking her marriage to the drain and she can testify. And you know, many times that happens, but we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to accept. Someone else has to be the one in wrong, not myself. So thank you so much for sharing. And I think that helps us to understand that once the issue is identified, and that's the biggest part of the solution. So reflect and make your life better.